Good afternoon, everyone. Another video here from Sabai Sabai Thai. Uh, I'm down here in Pattaya, by the way. I'm in Jomtien. I'm on the beach. Very, very quiet. Low season now in Pattaya. Uh, Tourism is just getting shattered. But the good news is the weather has turned for the better, coming off a very hot summer, coming into August now of 2025. And the weather is getting quite nice in the morning. I'll give you a view of the beach here. As I walk around, you can see the deck chairs. There's absolutely no one on the beach. Anyway, let's get into this video. This video is going to be rather difficult to make, both physically and mentally. Apologies for the wind noise if we're getting some wind noise, by the way, on the beach. Again, this video is going to be difficult to make physically and mentally, and it's going to rather significantly take me out of my comfort zone. But that's where they say growth comes from, is pushing your boundaries and getting out of your comfort zone. And what I'm about to do, I've been thinking about doing now for several years, but only recently have I really had the opportunity and the means and the time and the courage to do it, because, as I said, this is going to be a rather difficult exercise. I've been in Thailand now for 36, 37, 38 years, I forget. And I've really enjoyed my time in Thailand. It's been absolutely wonderful. Unfortunately, what I'm about to do means that temporarily, at least, I have to give up some of the things that Thailand is most well known for, including some of these things. Okay, by now you're probably saying to yourself, geez, what is this guy going to do to himself? Bury himself alive with David Blaine? Actually, that's not far off, actually. No. What I am going to do, or what I have done, is I've signed myself up for a 10-day Vipassana meditation retreat in the north of Thailand, in Udon Thani specifically. And I'll be heading up there on August 5th of 2025. Okay, so now that you know what I'll be doing, maybe you're saying to yourself, what's all this talk about? Difficulty, physical difficulty, mental difficulty. Look, it's 10 days in Thailand, beautiful weather, beautiful people, good food. What do you want? What is this all about, the difficulty? Well, let's get into it for the moment. And let me talk about the rules first of this meditation course. And then I'll come back later and talk about some of my fears. And perhaps if you're considering a course like this or a meditation retreat like this, you may have some of the same fears, and I'll address those later. But let's just first talk about why I think this is going to be quite difficult. And I'm going to read here from the Introduction to the Technique and Code of Discipline for the Meditation Courses. So first of all, you're up at 4 a.m. every day. You're up at 4 a.m. Your first meditation starts from 4:30 a.m. to, I think, 6:30 a.m. That's without coffee, without breakfast, without, that already, I'm not so worried. Again, I'm going to talk about my fears, but first of all, you're up at 4 a.m. every day for 10 days. There's no silence. Sorry, there's no speaking. It's called the noble silence. You take an oath of silence. So there's no speaking throughout the entire 10 days. No alcohol, no drugs, obviously, no sex, no mobile phones, no outside contact with the outside world. In an emergency, someone could probably reach you. They could call the temple. Separation of men and women. No physical exercise, no yoga, no journaling, um, no tobacco, no eating after 12 noon. I think there's a morning breakfast, and then there's a noontime lunch, a light lunch. But after that, there's no eating, no further eating. It's 100% vegetarian, so no meat, um, no music, etc. So it's quite a strict program. You're there for the full 10 days. It's actually longer than 10 days because 10 days, they're only counting when they call it a 10-day retreat, they're only counting the 10 full days of meditation. But actually, there's a day zero, half day, where you arrive between 2 to 4 p.m. and you check in and do an orientation. They don't count that. And then on the day after the 10 full days, they let you check out at I think 7 or 7:30 a.m. So all told, you're actually in for 12 days, and then if you have additional travel time, etc. So it's quite a significant time commitment, um, quite a rigorous meditation schedule as well. I'm going to post the schedule here shortly. Okay, I'm back in my office. Just briefly, I want to talk about what my fears are before I talk about the objectives of why why do I want to go to this meditation retreat? And I have three clear objectives. But before that, I want to speak quickly about my fears. Um, so let's go from the top. Waking up at 4 a.m., not a problem. I do that probably 3 to 4 times a month anyhow. I usually, if I can't sleep, I'll wake up at 3:30. I'll get into the office. I'll work until 10 a.m. and then I'll go back to bed for an hour or two. So I'm not worried about getting up. 2 meals a day from 6 in the morning until noon. I'm also not too worried about that. I routinely do 16/8 fasting. So I'm kind of used to the feeling of being hungry. It goes away after a while. It's just a hormone. I'm not afraid of it. So that's not going to bother me. Eating vegetarian, I've heard the food is really good at these retreats. Um, so I'm not too worried about that. Eating vegetarian, kind of look forward to it actually. If I could lose a kilo or something like that, that would be great. Eating vegetarian. No alcohol, again, I'm not worried about it. Every, say, 2 to 3 years, I just decide to take off 6 months. And I'm not really worried about it. I don't smoke, so I don't have to be worried about smoking. I don't do drugs, so I don't have to be worried about drugs. Separation of men and women should be okay. My biggest fear, and I'll be 100% honest, my biggest fear of doing this meditation retreat, I'm not worried about the time commitment. I have some time off now. I'm not worried about the code of silence. I'm not worried about the lack of contact with the outside world or social media or any of that. That doesn't bother me. That actually might be a really good thing. My biggest fear is that day four, I'll listen to that little sound in my head that keeps saying, just throw in the towel. Forget about it. Get out of here. Go have a beer. What are you doing this to yourself for? You're torturing yourself. You're 60 years old. Just go and have a beer. Get up, get out. Just talk to the guy. He'll let you out. That's my biggest fear, is a fear of failure. Uh, so I've really got to get that under control. So if this meditation retreat helps me with that, with being able to control my mind better, I'm all for it. Again, I'll talk about the objectives for why I want to do this retreat, but that's my number one biggest fear is that I'll just get, day four. I've heard that's the hump day or the hurdle day. I'll just want to leave and walk out. And then I have a second fear. I'm at 60 years old. I do play tennis 3 to 4 times a week. I've not, which is not kind on my body. Sitting for 2 hours in a meditative pose is going to be physically challenging. It's going to hurt. I've heard that people come out of there feeling like their back has been split or their hind side has been split wide open. Oh, that's a little bit sobering, right? So whether I have to request a chair or not, or whether I can actually sit on the floor for 2 hours straight and meditate, I am going to bring a Seiza bench, which I have found to be quite comfortable. I'll post a photo of, if you don't know what a Seiza bench is. It's a Japanese word, it's a Japanese phrase, but I will post a photo of it here. So that's my second biggest fear is physical discomfort. But I'm hoping that I can work through that. And again, there are breaks in the day as well, broken up by breakfast, broken up by lunch, broken up by, I think there's a tea break or whatnot. So those are my biggest fears. And I'm really hoping to challenge myself. And if I can come out of this, if I can complete this, I will be, it's just another notch on my belt. I will be really, really proud of myself and feel like I've accomplished something. And who knows, I may even get some long-term benefits, and we'll talk about that as well, post-video or post-session when I come back from this retreat. I'll post a follow-up video of whether I think this is something that you should do or that people should do, and whether it has any benefits or not. That's it. Okay, so you're probably thinking at this point, this guy is some man bun, crystal wearing, incense burning, Bible thumping Oompa Loompa. And I'm going to click off this video because, this is some cult based exercise that he's going through. Let me tell you, this can't be farther from the truth. Vipassana meditation. I am an old school, die-hard skeptic for anything, I almost swore there, for anything BS related. My radar for BS is hypersensitive, and I'm out of there if I thought for a moment that this had anything to do with religion or a cult or anything like that. Let me just quickly read to you from the documentation that they send you. They send you some nice documentation, by the way. And what they say in the documentation is, and I'm reading from the documentation here, what Vipassana is not. It is not a rite or ritual based on blind faith. That's interesting. It is not a ritual based on blind faith. It is neither an intellectual nor a philosophical entertainment. Fair enough. It is not a test cure, a holiday, or an opportunity for socializing. Fair enough. It is not an escape from the trials and tribulations of everyday life. Now, that's an interesting comment because Vipassana, the aim of Vipassana meditation is to eliminate or reduce suffering. And when I say suffering, I don't mean someone's locking you in the basement and torturing you, whipping you with you. We all go through daily suffering. And this is the type of suffering that goes on in your mind when you're stuck in traffic, when you're having an argument with your wife, when you have a Nazi boss, when you have bills to pay and you don't have enough funds in the bank, when your children are acting up and you can't get them under control, or they're going through those terrible teens. We all go through this daily suffering. But it doesn't necessarily have to be called suffering. I've read and I understand that Vipassana allows you to step outside yourself and look at it from the outside and reduce, I guess, the angst or the pain associated with those events that are happening. So that's my goal. One of my goals, one of my objectives for doing this Vipassana meditation is to deal with life's trials and tribulations a bit better, smooth the edges a bit, around the corners a bit, grease the wheel a bit. And who wouldn't, who's not up for that? If we can make life a little bit easier, who wouldn't be up for that? Look, this, I'll go into this. I'm going into this meditation with an open mind. I'll tell you right now, if I get any whiff, if I get any inclination that this is some sort of Hare Krishna movement or whatnot, look, I'm out of there. I will jump from the third floor. I've got your back. If you're thinking the same thing, I've got your back. I'll tell you how it is. I'll give you the skinny. But from everything that I read, everything that I can see, this is not a concern. Okay, guys, so I have arrived. You see behind me here the Vipassana Meditation Center in Udon Thani. If we just give you a look around, it really is in the middle of nowhere. I'm a bit early. It's 2 o'clock. I don't think they open the gates till about 2:30. It's a great drive up here from Pattaya, by the way. Fantastic drive from Pattaya. It's a double carriageway almost all the way up, so it's really relaxing drive. I spent last night in Khon Kaen, which is a nice little city, beautiful hotel. Had a great meal last night. This morning woke up, drove another 2 hours, had a nice lunch here in Udon Thani, and now I'm here at the Vipassana Meditation Center. Looking forward to this. I'm not sure if that's the right word. I'll tell you, my anxiety level is I would say it's about an 8 right now. But I'm going to do this and I'm going to stick with it. So stay tuned. This is part 1 of this video. Stay tuned for part 2. Unless I go mad and check myself into a psychiatric facility, there will be a part 2, and I will make a video on the follow-up to Vipassana meditation here in Udon Thani. So cheers, guys. I'm going to sign out here. I have to turn in my phone here in the next 15 or 20 minutes, and then we're good to go for 10 or 11 or 12 days, I think. Cheers.
A few moments later.
Okay, guys, so that's it. I'm done. I'm out. It's day 11. I'm about here to check out. We've been up since 4:30 this morning to do some final exercises, some final discourses. Gosh, that's a journey. That's not just meditation. That's definitely a journey. I don't want to talk too much today. I need several weeks to process really what happened. But that's it. I'm out. I just want to let you know I'm going to go back home now today. I've packed up everything. But before I go, of course, I just want to say a special thank you to the Dhamma Puneti Udon Thani staff, who are really wonderful, really caring, very patient with me. I know I'm not the easiest. So a very special thank you to the staff here at Dhamma Puneti Udon Thani. ขอบคุณครับ And a bit in Thai สวัสดีครับข้อความนี้เป็นข้อความสำหรับทุกท่านที่ทำงานที่ Dhamma Puneti อุดรธานีนะครับโอ้โหคุณอ่ะทุกท่านสุดยอดทุกท่านขยันทุกท่านอบอุ่นทุกท่านใจดีและทุกท่านก็มีความอดทน ให้ผมด้วยนะครับก็รู้นะผมไม่ง่ายนะครับจากหัวใจจริงๆขอบคุณมากๆครับสวัสดีครับ